This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 764. Thanks for listening. Make sure that you give a subscribe and download over wherever you are streaming your podcast, such as Spotify. Also, give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash. In addition to that, go buy a t-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us a follow on TikTok at Markin Out. Give us a follow on Twitter at Markin Out and on Instagram at MarkinOut11. You can follow me on all social media platforms at David PTDPT. That's right. It's Dave the Rave. You can follow Chris on all social media platforms at CMSweeney85 on Instagram and Chris Sweendog on Twitter. And you can follow Brandon on all social media platforms at BTTG161. That being said, let the games begin. Brandon, how are you?
I am doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
I'm doing incredible. I would do a lot better if those lovely, lovely Mets would win a game. That would be nice.
Is there an October chance here or no?
Yeah, there's an October chance. They just have to win. They just have to win. Right now, if they keep on winning, they could definitely go. You know what? I think there's 5 games left. If they win all 5 ones, they could do it.
Well,
I know, but how was your week?
It was pretty good. I went to my cousin's house in New Jersey for a housewarming party, which is it was a crazy nice house. It reminded me of Woodlock Pines. So it was really woodsy.
Yeah, that seems to be New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked getting there, but my Rice Krispie treats were a hit. So
that's awesome.
How was your week?
It was very, very good, thanks. But we did have Wrestlepalooza take place from Indianapolis, kicking off with God Bless America from the War and Treaty. They've performed, I think, at WrestleMania before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they kicked us off, and then we went right into a Triple H segment where Triple H pretty much spoke about Wrestlepalooza, introducing everybody to Wrestlepalooza, and this being the debut on ESPN, the intro segment was incredible.
Yeah, it was obviously a big moment for WWE to be on ESPN, and Triple H definitely did a good job at making it seem like that. And then Pat McAfee showed up. It was funny seeing Triple H run to the backstage area after that to be next to Pat for this segment. But Pat McAfee did commentary with Michael Cole and Wade Barrett for a couple of matches. I don't know why he didn't stay the whole time. That was weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know why either. I mean, must be a reason, though.
But the event itself kicked off with Brock Lesnar picking up the victory over John Cena. Paul Heyman showed up to announce Brock Lesnar. That was a surprise for sure.
Once that happened, you had to start to question whether or not Cena was actually going to win.
I didn't question that at all.
No.
Not once.
I mean,
question
if Lesnar was going to win.
Yeah, I thought for sure John Cena was winning, but there were a lot of attitude adjustments. There were a lot of F5s. Brock attacked the referee, and John Cena again after the match. Like I said the other week, if I had 100 matches on John Cena's retirement tour, this would not have been one listed.
Yeah, I was definitely... I mean, we should have known that. I think that we should have known that Brock Lesnar was going to win, though, especially after seeing his involvement with Paul Heyman.
I don't know. There were those reports saying that John Cena, up until the last moment, he was booked to win. So,
yeah, who knows? But Yeah, it was the opening matchup, and then that went into the Vision picking up the victory over the Usos. This was a heavy back and forth matchup. LA Knight was the special guest referee.
I like the matching gear from the Vision.
Yeah, it was okay. It was a brawling match.
LA Knight was very lenient with those rules.
Yeah.
Like the chair, the table. But at one point, Bronson Reed argued with LA Knight, and Jey Uso dove out onto Bronson Reed, almost hitting LA Knight. LA Knight wasn't so happy about that, but Paul ends up slipping Braun Breaker a chair, which Jey ends up getting, almost hitting LA Knight with it. And then Jey ends up hitting, was it Bronson Reed?
Yeah, with the chair?
Yeah, he swung and somehow it hit himself in the head, busted him the hell open.
Yeah, that was just... We still don't know really how it happened.
Like, you could slow it down as slow as possible. I still can't really see. I can't tell. I really can't.
Yeah. It's very possible that he just did it to himself coming over the top with the swinging.
But it seems like it could have been probably on the rebound also. I don't know. But then after the match, LA Knight refused to raise the arms of Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Understandable.
Yeah, adding some controversy, some scandal. I thought that it was very cool, though, because something that I popped for was the table just caving on top of, I think, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. It's kind of like that last minute where your tag team partner is getting pinned and the other person just lays on top of you, so this way you can't go break up the pinfall, and the table just caved right on top of him at the perfect moment to prevent him from even making the pinfall.
Yeah. The next match we saw was definitely the best match of the night. Stephanie Vicaire picked up the victory over Io Sky to become the new World Heavyweight Women's Champion, or Women's World Heavyweight Champion, or whatever it's called. She's the new champion.
This was a great matchup.
Yeah, they had some really good reversals, a lot of good back and forth. It was a very even matchup, too. Io, at one point, she kicked out of, I guess, the original SVB. I don't know if Stephanie Vicaire is going to be using that other SVB that we saw the other day. But Io hit the bullet train attack, and then she took her pads down to hit it again. Stephanie Vicaire ends up moving out of the way from the over the moonsault, and Io hurt her knees from that. And then she hit the corkscrew moonsault. A lot of people saying spiral tap. Commentary, I think, even said that, right?
Yeah, that's where it came from, was because of that. Everybody was saying confusion. That on there.
Yeah, but they've been saying that for months, because you can go back in literal months that Stephanie Vicaire has been doing that move. And it's always being referred to as the spiral tap.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until Aiden English pointed it out that I heard him point it out. And then later AJ Styles pointed it out. I was like, well, how was I so stupid on this? Because I'm like very meticulous when it comes to move names and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what they actually are. But and as far as this match goes, I'm very happy that Asuka didn't cost Io the match. I'm happy that it was like straightforward one-on-one. You get Stephanie Vicaire get that big victory. And hopefully
got to celebrate with her father in the crowd.
Yeah. That was really cool.
You know, a very special moment. I mean, they played up how this was the first time that her father was even seeing her in a professional wrestling match. So this meant a lot. So her going outside and getting to celebrate with him, it was just a special moment. And this match was amazing.
Next match, we saw CM Punk and AJ Lee pick up the victory over Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This was a very, very long match. Pure chaos that they packed a lot into it. I know some people really hated this match. They thought it was way too long. I know you're on that side of people thinking that it was way too long.
Yes, so my take on this match and Brandon's take is very different. For me, I'll just give my take real fast, but for me, this match was way too long. I feel like the crowd didn't focus enough on AJ, and they focused more on CM Punk. Like at the beginning of the match, even during the introductions, They were chanting for who? They were chanting for CM Punk. They weren't. It was as if AJ wasn't even there. And there were moments where it seemed like CM Punk was trying to put the spotlight on AJ, like when she would go to the turnbuckle or teasing the tag in, and the crowd just wasn't responding properly, in my opinion, for that. So it kind of sucked me out of the match, and then so it was just a long match for me. What about you?
I think the Vision did a really good job at holding the ring and cheating behind the referee's back. Like, you would think AJ Lee was getting that tag in, and then something else would happen. And I think this was like straight out of maybe the 70s, maybe the early 80s, the 90s even. Like that classic heel versus face match. I liked when Seth Rollins went to press Becky Lynch onto CM Punk. CM Punk moved out of the way. And he hit the GTS, and then Becky Lynch tried to prevent CM Punk from tagging in. He gets the tag. AJ Lee slaps the absolute hell out of Seth Rollins. I liked her and CM Punk doing that assisted sliced bread. I thought that was pretty dope. But
the downside with that, so before you move on, the downside with that, which I know, I didn't see online, but I know that other people, IWC, probably harped on it. But there was that like delay where Seth Rollins was holding AJ up and then had to turn around, and it just seemed like there was a few seconds of a delay, and then it went into the sliced bread number 2, and it was good, but I could see where that point people could complain.
Something else a lot of people complained about were those overhand windmill chops that AJ was doing, and I could swear to God I've seen a male from the 70s or 80s doing that move, and I can't think of who. I looked up Bruiser Brody, I looked up Abdul the Butcher. Who else did I look up?
Overhand chops.
Yeah, the windmill chops that people were like, they're not even touching. She's doing it wrong. They're not even. Shit looks
Isn't
like
that the
garbage.
same chop? But doesn't like Samoa Joe sometimes? Like I feel like everybody sometimes does chops
Samoa
like that.
Joe's not doing that.
The over the top overhand chop?
Yeah, like a windmill,
like to the chest.
Like a windmill that AJ was doing. To the corner.
Oh.
But I couldn't. I
don't know.
I could swear.
I can't think of like they're paintbrushing the person. I can't think of anything. I feel like that was a move that was Stephanie McMahon's finisher in No Mercy, though.
No.
Yeah, where she did a bunch of slaps. Right, left, right, left.
I don't know.
I feel like that was her finisher.
I don't know. Maybe Kamala did it. I have no idea. But
no, Kamala was the splash.
No, I don't mean as a finisher.
Yeah, no, he never did a windmill.
I don't know. But I liked when they both had that submission spot. I literally thought that was going to be it. I thought Becky and Seth were both going to tap out, and then they kept going for a long time after that. AJ Lee locked Seth Rollins in the Black Widow. She hit the Bexploder on Becky. And then Seth Rollins ended up tripping AJ, which led to CM Punk hitting him with a stomp. And then Becky started slapping CM Punk. He caught her and teased the sharpshooter. Rollins stopped him, and then she locked the move on CM Punk. And CM Punk rolled through and actually did lock that sharpshooter on Becky Lynch. I thought that was great. And for that, we saw CM Punk eat the pedigree and a stomp. And then AJ ends up stomping Seth Rollins. I liked the back and forth here between the genders.
I agree. I thought that they did a fine job. I mean, and I think that AJ with her submission hold, I saw so many people complaining. I'm not going to really grind on that one, because that's a tough submission hold to lock in, you know. And I think that when she locked it in, it looked good. It looked fine.
I think one of the spots that made me cringe the most in this was that table spot where CM
I
Punk,
like that spot.
but like I'm not like dunking on it or anything, but like the way the table broke, you had CM Punk and AJ both set up for, I guess, what were they going to go for? GTSs probably.
Yeah, I think CM Punk was going to go for the GTS on Seth Rollins, and then Becky Lynch had AJ tangled up on the other commentary table.
And then she ended up tossing AJ into CM Punk, which broke the table. But that table didn't... It looked like AJ could have gotten hurt on that table break.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think she did or anything, but...
No,
Because those tables are new. Like, newer. So they don't have, like, the same break as the other ones used to. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting. But after already kicking out of one... AJ ended up reversing a manhandle slam with that Black Widow like you were talking about to get that victory. I like this match, like I said. It just reminded me of a classic tag team brawl.
Yeah, I can't get on board with it.
After that, you had The Undertaker come out. Everyone's like, what the hell is Undertaker doing here? Stephanie McMahon was sitting ringside, and he went up to her and did Triple H's "Are You Ready" gimmick, which I thought was funny. And then he announced that she was going to be getting inducted to the 2026 class of the WWE Hall of Fame, which I jokingly tweeted out saying, is Undertaker about to induct or tell Stephanie she's getting inducted? And then it actually happened. So I think that was pretty cool. And I think she's very deserving of the Hall of Fame. I do wish we could see more than one woman inducted every year. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll necessarily get another woman or what, but it would be cool.
There should be no reason why you can't.
And I like how Shane's son on Twitter almost immediately tweets out, put Shane in the Hall of Fame. Like, he couldn't just be like, congrats, Aunt Steph.
Yeah, so kids are stupid sometimes.
I mean, I don't think it's stupid. I think Shane McMahon should 100% also be in the Hall of Fame. And I think it'd be really cool.
But
I think it would be cool if both of them were inducted as the same class. But
time and place, kiddo. Sit
I don't
down.
know. Kiddo.
I think that Stephanie, you can't have Shane McMahon and Stephanie headline. I would give them both flowers
Nobody
separately.
said Stephanie McMahon is headlining.
Yeah, I think Undertaker said that she was the first one announced and also the headline for 2026.
I don't remember him saying headline.
Yeah, I think she's the headline Hall of Fame for 2026. I'm almost certain that he mentioned that she's the headline for it.
That I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to check up on it. But next up was the main event of the evening. Cody Rhodes picked up the victory over Drew McIntyre to retain the the undisputed WWE Championship. You know, they pushed each other to the limits, but this match didn't hold up for me.
Storyline-wise, Cody was like out of it for this whole match. It was very weird to see. And Drew McIntyre controlled, I would say, most of it.
Yeah.
And at one point, Drew ripped the turnbuckle pad off, and Cody, he sent Drew into it. Commentary really didn't mention that at first, which I thought was weird. But Drew ends up kicking out of the Crossroads. Cody kicked out of a Claymore. And then, I hated this part. Drew McIntyre attempted the Claymore into the commentary table like he did the other week. The referee stopped him. I hated that. I thought that was such a bad referee spot. Why is the referee getting involved like that?
Yeah.
And then Drew went to he did it, but Cody moved. It was already enough time had passed. Cody moved, and then Drew went through it himself. I thought that was a very dumb referee spot. Drew couldn't hit another Claymore in the ring because he hurt his leg on that Claymore through the commentary table. And then Cody was able to hit that Crossroads and get the victory there. I don't think the match sucked or anything. I thought it was fine. When you think about it, this being the first event on ESPN, I think it really just ultimately shows Cody Rhodes as the WWE champion.
I agree. It totally makes sense that Cody Rhodes picks up the victory. This is the first one for ESPN. Downside, the ESPN rating? What the hell is wrong with the people at ESPN for allowing that to happen?
I just think it's an independent person.
But even still, ESPN, it's their platform. They have to control their platform better. I saw today that it was put out there that WWE, I think, or ESPN wasn't happy about it or something. Like, you got to control your platform. Don't be stupid.
And I mean, before even knowing who the person was, I said, this article reads as if it was an AEW mark. And then you go look through the tweets, and the guy is very more so leaning towards an AEW fan than WWE. So it is what it is. I think the absolute worst part of WrestlePalooza was the amount of ads. That really, it made me feel like I was watching just a normal television show, like I was watching Raw or SmackDown, not a premium live event. That was the absolute worst part of WrestlePalooza. It was like 900 hours worth of ads. That's what it felt like. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, people on Netflix, I guess, were just getting a bumper saying, "We'll be right back." It was trash. Back on Peacock, we would get ads as well, but it wasn't sprinkled in like. I mean, there. I guess on the normal ad tier, I think there might have been ads, but on the premium tier, you would just get the commentary talking about matches, which is some of the things is like on the Netflix platform. Some of that was there as well.
Yeah, I
don't understand if you have the premium version of Unlimited or whatever it's called, ESPN Unlimited. How do you get ads factored in there? That makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
but
true.
WrestlePalooza ends with Cody Rhodes winning, and Monday Night Raw opens with Cody Rhodes bringing up the Crown Jewel Championship. It was announced at WrestlePalooza that Crown Jewel this year will also be for the Crown Jewel Championships, champion versus champion. Cody spoke about that championship ring, and then the Vision showed up. They went back and forth, and Seth asked if the watch that Cody Rhodes gave him was just a gesture. Was it a real gift or a gesture? And Seth also said that Cody goes against absolutely everything that he stands for, everything the Vision stands for. And Seth said that Cody can go be the QB, but his QB for his vision of the future. Obviously, Cody doesn't want that. And Cody asked if their match will be one-on-one. And of all their matches, he asked Seth, how many have you won? Which the answer is 0.
Oof. And I think once I heard that, I'm like, it's gotta be time. I mean, Seth Rollins had to pick up a victory at some point over Cody Rhodes. They've had so many battles since Cody Rhodes returned to WWE. I mean, Cody Rhodes had his hellish battle with Seth Rollins when he tore his pec. And they had so many battles after that, and Seth Rollins never won. And I know we've spoken about it millions of times, and Seth Rollins had a losing record and this and that. I think that he's going to pick up this victory now.
But will it be one-on-one? Probably not.
I hope so.
I don't know.
I hope it is one-on-one. I hope it is.
After that, we saw the War Raiders and Penta pick up the victory over New G'day in a no DQ match. I feel like they should have just done a Vikings rules match. It's already similar enough that I feel like... Why not?
Yeah, but you've done it already, though.
No, but, I mean, you have done Viking Raiders versus New Day in a Vikings rules match, but every single Vikings rules match that they've done have been, like, really well-done matches. Mm-hmm. Not to say this match sucked or anything, but I could have enjoyed a Vikings rules.
Yeah.
And not every match was... I think there was only, like, 3 of them, so... We could have used another one. But that step-up tope that Penta did off of Eric's back while Ivar did the running running crossbody into the ring apron. I thought was really cool. I liked Ivar.
Nice.
Something that I feel like people slept on. Ivar hit that sit out powerbomb to Grayson Waller on the ring apron as a counter. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't see that every day.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought that this match was a solid opening match.
Yeah, Penta sent Kofi Kingston through a table, and then he went for something else. Grayson Waller stopped him, and Penta reversed that and won the match with that Avalanche Destroyer. Last week it was that Springboard Destroyer, and now it's an Avalanche Destroyer. So people can continue to say Penta's like not being used right, but I think he's been very entertaining.
Yeah, he's being used perfectly, I think. I mean, look at he has one of the best entrances on the main roster.
Yeah.
I know.
After that, we had Stephanie Vicaire come out.
Stephanie Vicaire.
Stephanie
Vicaire.
She put over her dad as her hero and thanked the fans and basically said that nobody can stop her. And Adam Pearce brought up the match for SmackDown, so we can put a pin in that for now. But afterwards, Nikki Bella greeted Stephanie Vicaire. Rhea Ripley said that she's coming for that championship, and then Asuka interrupted, and it led to the match being set up of Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. And then later on, Io told Asuka that she doesn't need to do this. Asuka said that she doesn't need to listen to anyone who lost, which was like a real dig at Io. Kyrie ends up saying that Asuka is why they're here and why they need to listen to Asuka. And then Io eventually later on says that she needs Rhea to call this match off. And Rhea said maybe they could beat the respect into one another like she and Io did. And she told Io to watch her back around Asuka. And Io wasn't happy with that. She said they're family. And then questioned if she can trust Rhea Ripley. And that all gets pushed to the main event. So we'll put a pin in that as well.
Yeah. But next up, you had Bayley pick up the victory over Roxanne Perez. Yeah, it was a good match. Bayley continuing her momentum, though.
Bayley hugged Lyra before the match and asked her to be basically a manager for her. And she had no idea what Lyra was talking about with Bayley yelling at her last week. So, but I thought this match was good, like you said. I fully expected Roxanne Perez to win because of what's going on with Bayley's head.
I think it could be. I think it could have went either way, just because of everything that is taking place with Bayley's head. I feel like it could have went any way.
I liked Roxanne doing that Russian leg sweep off the middle rope. And then I liked that she also did the pop rocks on the outside. But Raquel Rodriguez ended up attacking Bayley behind the referee's back. Lyra Valkyria jumped in, which Roxanne ends up taking her out. And then Bayley ripped Roxanne into the ring and absolutely snapped. She hit the Bayley to belly, she hit that knee, and she hit the Rose Plant to win. And then after the match, Lyra went and she hugged Bayley. And Bayley shoved her to the mat and yelled at her and told her to stay out of it. I wasn't expecting that part.
That definitely was surprising, but hey, you can't be trusted with her.
And then on NXT, Lyra spoke to Tatum about it. Izzy was kind of annoyed, and she reminded Tatum that Lyra left her once, she'll leave it again.
Yeah. But next up, you had Rusev pick up the victory over JD McDonough. I feel like this was an expected outcome, though.
Yeah, but you had, before that, Dominic had asked for help from Finn Balor and he turned it down. And then JD also turned it down, but Roxanne said that he needs to because they're the Judgment Day. But this match, like you said, you expected JD to lose. He did have a little comeback, But Rusev hit him with that Machka kick and hit the accolade to get the victory there. And then Dom went to jump in the ring and really paused. Almost like a deer in the headlight. He thought better, perhaps. And then Finn Balor...
Can you see him winning?
I don't know. I definitely don't think Rusev is beating Dominic, if that's what you're asking me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, can you actually see... Like, if Rusev gets in the ring with Dirty Dom, I actually could see Rusev winning.
I don't see that. But Finn Balor attacked Rusev after that, and he was annoyed with Dominic for not doing that. If Dominic has to lose that championship, it needs to be to John Cena.
Oh, because of everything?
Yeah.
It's true.
So I really hope that's the case.
That would be a nice little thing.
We had Jey Uso pick up the victory over LA Knight. Jimmy wasn't pleased with Jey, and Jey was pissed off. Cody spoke to Jey after Jimmy asked him to speak to Jey. And Jey said that he'll find his way back to the top. I don't know. This match, man, I don't know. I was actually surprised, first of all, that Jey was even wrestling. I was expecting him to look like Joey Mercury for some reason. Even though that injury wasn't anything like anywhere crazy like Joey Mercury's was. But there wasn't even like a bruise on Jey. So I don't know what I was expecting, but it definitely wasn't that. The match was pretty even.
I was surprised that he was involved.
Yeah, and then they were saying afterwards that he was on concussion protocol. Doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, if he actually was on concussion protocol, he wouldn't have been in this matchup.
But it was an even match. The Vision showed up, and LA Knight took them out, and then Jey ended up taking advantage of that to spear LA Knight. He hit the Uso splash and got the victory there. And afterwards, first of all, I thought LA Knight was going to win because of everything going on with the Vision. But afterwards, the Vision went to attack LA Knight. Jimmy came out and he wanted Jey to run down and help him. But Jey ended up leaving. Jimmy ran to the ring with a chair and Paul Heyman backed them off. So,
yeah, just did the rundown.
We had a vignette for Los Americanos. I mean, a lot of people are complaining about the AI aspect of it, but overall, I enjoyed this vignette. And then AJ Styles and Dragon Lee spoke to Adam Pearce about them, and it gets set up for next week, a tag match. We'll see the in-ring debut of Los Americanos.
We'll see what happens there, but main event of the evening, Rhea Ripley picked up the victory over Asuka. Ripley picking up that pinfall, but I think the biggest stuff was after the matchup.
I mean, this was an awesome main event. Kyrie reluctantly tried to hit that back fist on Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley caught her. Asuka accidentally knocked her off the apron. And then Rhea, off of that, basically won the match. But like you said, the aftermath was a very, very big segment. And you had Asuka hit Rhea Ripley with the mist, which literally, I don't even understand how that happened. I don't know how Rhea Ripley was covered almost head to toe in blue. How much mist was there? Her good. That was wild. Good. That was truly wild. Seeing all those pictures, all the videos of the aftermath, it was, I still can't comprehend how much mist was there to have that. But Asuka made Kyrie also attack Rhea Ripley, and then Io ran down to, I guess, try to back Asuka off, and she and Asuka end up hugging, but then Asuka hit her with the back fist. She ordered Kyrie to attack Io as well. Everyone in this segment was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
You go and You could have a premium live event like Wrestlepalooza, where I would say it was probably like a B- sort of situation, and you go the next night or 2 nights after that, and you close Monday Night Raw with such a fire segment. It's like, why is this not every week sort of situation?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my favorite things we've seen in pro wrestling in recent memory.
There you go. Well, something that was my favorite happened on NXT this week. NXT kicking off with Miles Bourne pick up the victory over Alexis King in a lights-out matchup. Pretty much unsanctioned match.
I wish the lights were a tad bit brighter.
Brighter?
Yeah.
It's funny because the criticism I heard was that it was too bright.
I could barely see at times, so... Which, it makes sense that's why they were doing that, but...
I heard for it being a lights-out match, it should have been less bright.
I disagree with that, but I did like some of the spots they were doing. With the exception of that barricade, I'm done. I'm good on that spot. I don't need that anymore. I really don't.
I love that barricade spot.
It just happens so often.
That was fun.
There's no reason to do it it seems like it's an every week occurrence.
I don't know. I thought that was good.
I really like the ending of that, though, where Lexis King went to suplex Miles Bourne through a table off of the steps in the ring, but he reversed it with a DDT, and then he ran up the steps to hit a zigzag through that table from the steps. I thought that was a really good finish to me.
I agree.
After that, you had Ethan Page come out with El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. sitting ringside. Ethan Page addressed him and invited him to No Mercy and then challenged him to a match right then and there, which El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. accepted and then beat Ethan Page in not 2 seconds, but
5 seconds.
It was really quick. He tapped him out right away with the ankle lock and then unmasked to reveal that it was Tavion Heights. I think that was perfect.
Yeah, that was huge.
I think that was great.
I thought that was hilarious how that happened. And, I thought it was Dr. Wagner, but for the entire reveal and stuff like that, I thought that was perfect.
Now we just know what the outcome of No Mercy will be, so.
True. Very, very true. Next up, you had Lainey Reed pick up victory over Candice LeRae to advance in the Speed Tournament. It was quick offensive matchup.
You had NASCAR's Cole Custer as the ring announcer. I think that was quite fitting for that.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the apron facebuster from Candice LeRae, but Lainey Reed ended up hitting a knee out of nowhere with 30 seconds or so left to get that victory. And I guess I'll put a pin in that as well. You had Jordan Grace pick up the victory over Ariana Grace, which stemmed from a backstage segment. I would say that Grace had the advantage at the start, but there was no way Grace was losing this match. No, that's not funny to you?
No, I got you.
But,
you
Grace, you knew Ariana Grace.
It was definitely going to be one Grace winning, one Grace losing.
Ariana Grace was definitely not going to be that Grace winning. But Blake Monroe showed up afterwards with weapons. They went at it, and then Stevie Turner set up a weapons match for No Mercy, and Mr. Stone upped it and made it a weaponized steel cage match. So I'm very much so looking forward to that. I don't remember the last time we saw one of those, but that should have been in the video game system a long time ago. So that's kind of annoying that we don't have that.
I can't remember.
It's been a while, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had JC Jane.
That was enjoyable.
We had JC Jane and Lola Vice, where JC told Fallon and Jasmine Nix that she could handle Lola by herself. Basically, stay to the back. And JC said Lola's just not ready to hold the championship. And Lola said that while JC always needed someone else to win, she never did. All she needs is she comes from an MMA background. She just needs her fists and her kicks or whatever. I think they had a good back and forth on the mic. I think JC Jane from the very first moment we saw JC Jane to now is like the perfect timeline of a WWE superstar. I think that like the evolution of JC Jane is very, really good.
Yeah, it's incredible the improvements that she has had over the time.
But at this segment, you had Lola Vice ending up knocking JC Jane out. And then later on, Jasmine Nix was taken out, and JC was like, it was time to drop her anyways. Which I would assume Laney was the one that took her out. We've kind of seen backstage segments between the two, Laney Reed and Fatal Influence, so I have to assume it was her, and she'll be joining.
On the other hand, it could have been, I'm just going to cut ahead and cut back, but it could have been, at the time, it could have been somebody from TNA as well. We saw Trick Williams
I'm just going to say no right away.
making...
There's no.
Okay, well, they
I'm
made
not even
an
going to let you
entrance
say anything because no.
You never... It could have been somebody from TNA.
That to me wouldn't have made sense at all.
It could have definitely been somebody from TNA.
And
you
then
had Obafemi and Trick Williams making their entrance through the parking lot, and you see Matt Cardona and
but
EY.
why would it have been them if like, where does that lead to? That doesn't lead anywhere. This leads somewhere.
It leads to TNA starting to attack people.
And the only person they're going to attack is Jasmine Nix.
For now, it could have been just for now.
No.
It could have just been
for the
one
ending
person,
that
and then
took
it goes
place. There's no way the only person that was getting attacked was Jasmine Nix. This was someone from NXT.
This was still only halfway through the event. There was still more to go with the show.
But Jasmine Nix's contract is apparently not being renewed, and I think that's very unfortunate. She didn't like the money that they offered her, and the money offer came out. I don't know exactly how much it was, but it seems like she should have been getting way more. And I think...
Or just be grateful for what you get offered.
No, I think that's a very low offer. Lower than $60,000 is very, very low. And I think she could have thrived on Evolve. I still enjoyed her as part of the group. I think she was she used her soccer background in her movesets, and every single time we saw her, she was adding more to her moves. She's like, from real sports, from the PC to pro wrestling, I think they made a big mistake by not offering more. So I'll be disappointed to see her go. It doesn't seem like she's going to be doing any more wrestling. I don't know.
Yeah, but next up you had Dark State pick up the victory over Chase U and Joe Hendry.
Which this stemmed from another segment with NASCAR guys backstage, which was funny.
Yeah,
Joe Hendry showed up in a NASCAR outfit. But yeah, a lot of this was chaos. You had Uriah Connors taking out Dark State by himself towards the end, which I thought was really cool. But he eventually got put down. Dark State hit their power bomb to get the victory there. I don't think any part of me thought Chase U and Joe Hendry would win. Mm-hmm. But like you said, throughout the night, we had TNA stars showing up. You named Eric Young. You named Matt Cardona, Moose, Steph DeLander, Manser was there. Zaya Brookside, Lei Ying Lee was there.
Iconics.
Yeah, Steve Macklin, Victoria Crawford, Cedric Alexander. You had Zachary Wentz, Mike Santana, Kazarian, The Inspiration, not the Iconics. But they all surrounded the ring for the main event. Matt Cardona got a monster pop when he walked in. That was crazy.
That pop was incredible. And I was marking out every time there was a backstage segment, you saw these people lurking in the background. And I thought it was incredible. I love the fact how you had Robbie E. and the other person,
Stevie Turner,
talking
and Mr.
to Ava
Stone
on the phone. Yeah, talking on the phone to Ava about whether or not she authorized these TNA people to be here.
Which, why would she? What kind of question is that?
I thought that it was hilarious that they were like, "Did you authorize this?" And she just can't hear them on the phone.
Also, how stupid are they to let? See, that's a big problem with NXT. I'll just put a pin in that for a second. The main event, you saw Obafemi.
I thought it was hilarious.
You had Obafemi versus Trick Williams end in a no contest. You had Santana hop the barricade to join commentary. The match I thought was very even, and I was very entertained by this match. I thought this was a very good match. But you had the dueling TNA NXT chants. Trick Williams, though, walked up to Santana, slapped him, and all hell broke loose. Both locker rooms, like the NXT locker room spilled out. The TNA guys jumped the barricade. They all brawled. And then Ricky Saints slowly walked out, grabbed the title, and stared Obafemi down. And that is what I was going to say before. A big problem with the NXT roster is that they're too in their own heads. They don't care about TNA versus NXT. I don't know who's going to be on Team NXT versus Team TNA here. They care more about themselves than they do TNA. Ricky Saints does not care about TNA invading where he is right now. All he cares about is beating Obafemi for that title.
Yeah, I thought that this entire segment was such a great moment. I thought this was a lot of fun. And apparently now they have the WWE trademarked the word invasion.
Which,
so that
I looked at the Invasion pay-per-view. The only person who might possibly have been on both would be Jeff Hardy.
I mean, I think that this entire thing was awesome. And apparently TNA has events in Florida, well, Orlando or whatever, but they don't have a place yet. And hey, maybe they're going to be there. Maybe they're going to actually take over the WWE territory for a little bit.
I don't know about that. I don't think they would do an event where you can't sell tickets.
Well, why wouldn't they be able to sell tickets?
They don't sell tickets at the Performance Center, so I don't know why they would start.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Full Sail University is there where they could sell tickets.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
But this weekend we have NXT No Mercy. Very interesting that they went back to the NXT No Mercy instead of WWE No Mercy. I think the last time we saw an NXT event be branded as NXT was Halloween Havoc. I think. I don't know if this is to show like brand versus brand, where like, no, this is NXT versus TNA in this invasion angle.
Mm-hmm.
So in Fort Lauderdale, we have No Mercy taking place this weekend. And you have to expect at some point there's going to be TNA involvement here. At least I expect.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's kick it off with Javon Evans taking on Josh Briggs. I'm going with Javon Evans.
I am going to say Javon Evans as well.
Weaponized steel cage match. Jordan Grace versus Blake Monroe. I'm going Jordan Grace.
I'm going to say Blake Monroe.
All right.
For the NXT North American
American
Championship, Ethan Page defending the championship against Tavion Heights. Ethan Page.
NXT Championship on the line. Obafemi taking on Ricky Saints.
I personally think that Ricky Saints has to win here.
Yeah, I kind of want to say Ricky Saints. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to say Ricky Saints here as well.
Yeah, it sounds like a very bold pick, but with the way that the last NXT event ended and everything, I think it would be such a boost for Ricky Saints to do that right now.
For the
WWE
Women's Speed Championship, Sol Ruka defending the championship against Laney Reed. I think it's going to be Laney Reed, and I think she's joining Fatal Influence because she's the one that took out Jasmine Nix.
I am going to go with Sol Ruka.
And then the NXT Women's Championship on the line, Jacy Jayne defending the title against Lola Vice. I think everything that they built up so far makes it look like Lola Vice is going to win that championship, but everything that they did on NXT this week makes me think they're absolutely not giving that championship to Lola Vice. I'm picking Jacy Jayne, and I think with Jacy Jayne winning that championship, we will soon see Fallon Henley with gold as well.
I was very torn But I feel like with what happened on NXT this week, I feel like I have to pick JC Jane as well.
I think we can definitely see Laney Reed beat Sol Ruca, and then I think we could definitely see Fallon Henley beat Sol Ruca.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fatal Influence walks around all three of those titles.
You mean JC Jane beat Lola Vice?
Nope, I said
Nah.
Fallon Henley beat JC Jane because Sol Ruca is the North American champion as well.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Interesting.
So that is No Mercy. Moving over to SmackDown. It kicked off with Paul Heyman. He did Cody's gimmick. Cody came out and asked him about Brock Lesnar. He said it doesn't seem like it was a one-night thing between him and Brock. And then Paul said Brock's not there. That's when the Vision showed up. They got into the ring. Cody said that nobody's figured out why Paul is doing what he's doing yet, but he knows that it's not for them. And he tied it to everybody else. And then Cody fought with them. Braun Breaker had ripped off his shirt. That's when Cody went off. They obviously took him down. And then Randy Orton made the save and looked at that championship while handing it back to Cody Rhodes again. Yeah, the Street Profits pick up the victory over Mellow Don't Miz to become the number one contenders. Mellow Don't Miz, I think, looked great as a team until Miz tagged himself in. And then Carmelo Hayes pulled Miz back, and he ended up getting crotched off the top rope for that. Miz got hit with that Sky High and Frog Splash to lose the match. I thought they were going to win. And Carmelo Hayes could have easily broken that pin up. He stopped. I thought, given what's been happening with the Street Profits as of late, I thought 100% Mellow Don't Miz was going to win. I like the team, but it doesn't seem like they're going to go in the direction of them being a team much longer. You had Julia and Kiana James pick up the victory over Mia Yim and B-Fab. I liked Mia Yim and B-Fab coming into this match with tag team moves. Also, outside of Shotzi, I think Mia is probably the wildest woman in WWE, like in recent history. Outside of Candice LeRae, also on TV, at least Mia Yim, because we've seen Candice be wild back in the days. But I want Mia Yim to have a singles championship in WWE. I want Julia to be built up more, especially as U.S. champion. I want the U.S. championship to be treated like the Intercontinental Championship. And as much as I want to see those things happen, I wouldn't mind seeing this match revisited as a no DQ match. Yeah, Drew McIntyre come out in a boot. He complained about not being champion. And I really don't want to say complained, because I agree with Drew McIntyre with the referee being trash in that match. But he blamed Cody Rhodes, and Nick Aldis showed up and said that he agrees with some of what Drew said, but the referee's decision is the referee's decision. And he also questioned the boot on McIntyre's foot because it wasn't from WWE Medical. And Drew McIntyre brought up corruption, and that's when Nick Aldis was like, look, you can stay, but I'm done talking. And then Jacob Fatu returned. Things got heated, and eventually it came to blows. Jacob Fatu ripped that boot off of Drew's leg, knocked Drew out with it. How, storyline-wise, how does Nick Aldis let that happen? I don't know. We'll see what happens. After that, the U.S. Open Challenge, we saw Sami Zayn pick up the victory over Javon Evans to retain the championship. I thought it was going to be Nakamura. Nakamura was lurking backstage. Maybe that's who's eventually going to take that title from him, because we have been seeing Nakamura lurking backstage. But this was dope. That Hurricane Rana from the top rope, I think, was a highlight of SmackDown from Javon Evans. And then Javon multiple times got out of the way from a haluva kick. He hit that OG cutter. Sammy kicked out. He did eventually hit that haluva kick and win with that Blue Thunder Bomb. But seeing matches like this, I said this the other week, it reminds me of that John Cena Open Challenge. If they keep doing them like that, I'm all for it. I'm all for this, 100%. You did have Josh Briggs attack Javon Evans. So that furthers No Mercy. The main event saw Tiffany Stratton pick up the victory over Jade Cargill and Nia Jax to retain. Stephanie Vicaire spoke to each of them throughout the night. I liked earlier on in the match the double dropkick that Tiffany Stratton did to Jade Cargill and Nia Jax. The suicide dive from her was nasty, though. She obviously didn't mean for it to be that. Tiffany Stratton reversed a submission into a pin, but she could have won in that moment, but I guess maybe Nia Jax was late to jump for the leg drop, so that was unfortunate. I did like that Tiffany Stratton did that rolling senton to Jade Cargill onto Nia Jax before doing the prettiest moonsault ever, but Jade rolled out of the way. She later on in the match gets to hit that jaded spot I didn't really like. But she hit Jaded, and then Nia Jax pulled the referee out of the ring and brawled with Jade Cargill outside. Jade Cargill got busted the absolute heck open. She hit a Samoan drop to Nia Jax onto the steps. And then I don't know if the referee messed up or if Nia Jax didn't kick out, but it led to Tiffany Stratton then having to do the prettiest moonsault ever on Nia Jax to retain that championship. And then Stephanie Vicaire came out, went face-to-face with Tiffany Stratton to set up the match for Perth. I think that match could have been a lot better, but it was still entertaining for what happened in it. But that is SmackDown. Going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
Hey guys, Jason David Frank, and you are listening to Markin Out. It's morphin' time.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out, episode 764. Moving to AEW All Out. I did not watch this event. I saw very little clips of it. You opened with the Ops picking up the Workhorsemen. Daniel Garcia picked up the victory over Shibata. Hologram and Paragon beat the Frat House. You had Harley Cameron, Mina Shirakawa, Queen Aminata, and Willow Nightingale pick up the victory over Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madness. I don't know if that was the main card or what, but you had Edge and Christian pick up the victory over FTR. Beth Phoenix debuted and then took Stokely out. Edge also did the 5-knuckle shuffle and attitude adjustment, which was really cool to see. Everybody in the arena, even though they hate John Cena and WWE, you could hear everybody doing the "You Can't See Me." So I thought that was a really cool moment that they had there. After that, you had the return of Eddie Kingston pick up the victory over Big Bill. That was it was unfortunate. Mark Briscoe defeated MJF in a tables and tack match. I expected MJF to be the winner there, but I guess I'm surprised by that outcome. Then MJF on Dynamite said he's taking time off or something. Has to reflect. I forget what exactly he said. You had the Demand, that's Ricochet and the Gates of Agony, pick up the victory over the Hurt Business. That was a surprising victory to me. Mercedes Moné picked up the victory over Riho to retain. Okada picked up the victory over Takeshita and Mascara Dorada, which to me that's unfortunate, but I guess they're going to have an even slower build to Okada and Takeshita, and I'll put a pin in that. Jon Moxley picked up the victory over Darby Allin in a coffin match. I would have expected it to be the other way around. I saw Mox set Darby Allin on fire. I don't know at what point in that match that happened, but we'll put a pin in that. Or Darby set Mox on fire, I mean. We'll put a pin in it. You had Chris Statlander pick up the victory over Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter, and Tekla to become the new AEW Women's Champion. It's been years in the making. She was TBS champion, but I'm very happy that Chris Statlander is the AEW champion. And then you had Brodito pick up the victory over the Young Bucks, Jet Speed, and Don Callis family in that ladder match to retain the championships. Main event saw Hangman Adam Page retain against Kyle Fletcher. Over on AEW Dynamite, you had Brodito pick up the victory over the Gates of Agony to retain the championships. Ricochet did commentary for this. Gates of Agony, they look like beasts in this match, which I think rightfully so, but they also haven't been booked like this. So I don't know how much I like them going up against Bandito like that, especially when Bandito at times in this match where he was able to overpower both of them. And the officiating in this match, of course, god-awful. At one point, Aubrey turned all her focus away to go outside of the ring and focus on the outside stuff that wasn't even part of the match. And then Ricochet got into the ring with a chair. She randomly got back into the ring, went face to face like it's WrestleMania, and then kicked him from ringside. Garbage finish to that match. You had Hangman pick up the victory over Lee Moriarty to retain the AEW Championship. This was an open challenge. But last year, Tony Khan tried to dunk on WWE for having Jinder Mahal versus Seth Rollins for the championship, with Jinder Mahal's last victory being a full year prior to that match. Lee Moriarty's last televised singles victory in AEW was July 2022. And it was Seth Rollins that challenged Jinder Mahal in that match, not the other way around. I understand 100% it's an open challenge. I also think it's hilarious that they had a video package ready for him to go for an open challenge. But I will say kudos to them for having that video package, because you might not even know who Lee Moriarty is, because his last singles match was over 1,000 days ago. His last singles victory. So, obviously, Hangman's not losing this match. You had FTR after that. They showed off footage of Edge and Christian after the pay-per-view. Edge said he's leaving, and he doesn't know when he's coming back. He can't keep putting his family in danger. Everybody now thinks that Edge, his contract is up in October, and he's coming back to face John Cena. In a perfect world, John Cena, Edge, Madison Square Garden, perhaps. Who knows? Other people are saying that Edge's contract is up in 2026 or even further. They did, in this promo, some sort of WWE stuff. Dax literally just said he'd never put his hands on a woman. You heard that with CM Punk. You heard that with Seth Rollins. Now you're hearing it with Dax. And then Willow showed up, which he also implied in this that Beth isn't really much of a woman. I thought that was dumb. But Willow Nightingale showed up and said Beth Phoenix is the reason why women like her don't take stuff from FTR, and said that they should try a more sincere apology. You had Jet Speed show up after Willow slapped Stokely. FTR went to attack, but they got taken out. You had the Don Callis family come out. Don Callis spoke about a bunch of things. He went to unveil a new painting where he tried to take credit for all those paintings. But the big reveal was Orange Cassidy. I thought that was a cool reveal. He came through a broken painting. Then the conglomeration picked up the victory over the Don Callis family. Takeshita and Okada went face-to-face at one point. And Orange Cassidy was able to hit both of them with that Hurricane Rana, but they continue a very slow build to Okada versus Takeshita. Hologram eventually got the victory here. I would have 100% thought that Orange Cassidy would have been the one to get that. However, everything else in the rest of the night makes sense for it to have been Hologram. We did see a tease for El Clone beforehand. And then Fletcher showed up afterwards. And he said that he proved he can be in the main event. And then he freaking challenged Hologram, which I think, regardless of Hologram being undefeated in AEW, he wants to be the first person to defeat Hologram. I think that's a huge downgrade. Going from the main event to Hologram is a huge, huge downgrade. You had Claudio pick up the victory over Powerhouse Hobbs. This match was, they said, a first time. I hope it's the last time. They had no chemistry to me. Pac showed up. He returned at the pay-per-view. I forgot to mention that. With short hair, that was a very crazy thing to see. And Pac showing up in this match led to Claudio getting that victory. Samoa Joe showed up, and then Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia attacked. Hangman showed up and cleaned house, which who knows where that AEW championship is headed. I personally think we're off to a bad start with this Hangman title reign. We're off to a very bad start with the TNT championship reign as well. Tony Khan afterwards made an announcement that they are now officially introducing women's tag team titles. I hope it means more women's matches on television. I don't have faith given how poorly the women are booked right now. You have this big announcement that you've built up since the pay-per-view, and on that same night, you just have one women's match. Regardless of it being the main event, you just have one. How does that lead me to believe that they're going to be better booked? It really doesn't. So hopefully, I don't even want to say in the coming weeks, hopefully like instantly we get at least 2 women's matches per show. Enough is enough. It truly is. It's so simple to do. In the main event, Chris Statlander picked up the victory over Mina Shirakawa to retain. I am glad that this match got this main event to showcase Chris Statlander as the new champion. They put over 5 upcoming matches during this match. They put over 1 upcoming segment for Collision and Dynamite. Not one women's match was announced for that. Not one was advertised. So, like I said before, I don't have faith in the women's tag team titles for AEW. This match I thought was fine, but not the match I would put on for the first defense. Chris Statlander again wins with that Wheeler Yuta pin. And then afterwards, Wheeler Yuta got in the ring to celebrate. Harley Cameron came in to celebrate. The Death Riders showed up. And they basically welcomed Chris Statlander to the Death Riders. And then Chris Statlander ends up taking Wheeler Yuta down. Marina Shafir went after Chris Statlander. She ducked it, went right up to Jon Moxley and flipped him off. I thought that was hilarious. She ducks out. And then Darby Allin showed up with a flamethrower and kept the Death Riders back. He challenged Jon Moxley to a match, an I Quit match at Wrestle Dream. To me, this was not a good follow-up for a pay-per-view. It was just not overall interesting. The big go-home segments here were Darby Allin challenging Jon Moxley to an I Quit match. Where's the AEW Championship headed? Where was Tony Storm? There was no Jurassic Express. They reunited on the pay-per-view. I forgot to mention that. They're going to be advertised for next week. This was not a good follow-up for a pay-per-view. So that's AEW. Hey, Brandon. Got any shout-outs?
Heyo, Kermit the Frog here, and you're listening to Brandon Shoutouts. Yay!
The Runarounds is a new series on Amazon Prime that came out at the beginning of September. I don't feel like you wouldn't have heard anything about this, have you?
No.
It's about a group of high school graduates who end up forming a band. There's drama, there's comedy, there's romance. It's based on a real band that the creator of the show found while they were casting for a band to appear on, what's the show called? Outer Banks. You ever see that show? On Netflix?
I don't think so.
I've never seen Outer Banks. It's been in my queue, but it came out in 2020, that show Outer Banks. But The Runarounds, I think, is a really good show. I literally never wanted the episodes to end, and it's almost like an unbelievable story, and I don't know how much of this was real or true to the band's actual story. But this show's right up my alley. I hope there's another season. I hope there are many more seasons. Also, I didn't know they were a real band until after I was done with the season. I went and looked it up, and I was like, first of all, are these people actually singing? And it's like, not only are these people singing, it's based on this. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. So that kind of blew me away. They literally just played New York City last week. I would have liked to have seen that. I bought the album on Amazon. That's how good I thought this was. So check it out on Amazon Prime, The Runarounds. My next shout out goes to Haunted Hotel. Have you heard anything about this television program?
No, tell me about it, though.
It's a brand new comedy horror adult animated show on Netflix that follows a woman who inherited a hotel that just so happens to be haunted. It's kind of similar to Ghosts on CBS in the fact that they inherited it and there are ghosts from different eras. The intro is even kind of similar, but it's not all all that similar because it's not just one person who can see the ghosts. And it stars Will Forte, Eliza Coupe, Skylar Gisondo, Natalie Palamides, Jimmy Simpson is in it. The creator of the show, Matt Roller, is a writer on Rick and Morty. So maybe if you like Rick and Morty, you might be into it. I also could totally see this being a show on the Fox Animation Domination lineup. So if you like those shows, I would say check that out as well. And also, now that we're in fall, I think it's the perfect series to watch. Mm-hmm. My last shout out goes to Pixar's Elio, which is now out on Disney Plus. I watched it. It's not at all what I thought this movie was going to be. And I don't know what I thought this movie was going to be, but it's about a kid who gets abducted by aliens, and they all think he's the leader of Earth. And ultimately, I think the movie, when you strip everything away, the message is that you're not alone. Even if you feel like it, you're not. Zoe Saldana, Brad Garrett, Jamila Jamil are some of the voice actors in it. I wish it did better in theaters with more people seeing it, because I thought this was a very good movie from Pixar. It seems to be doing good on streaming. So I would 100% recommend seeing this. It's out on Disney Plus, like I said. And those are my shout outs. Now it's time for
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. I have like 3, I guess. What do you have? How many do you have? Any?
Just the WWE, the NXT, TNA Invasion. I marked out so much with Matt Cardona, especially being back on NXT. Big mark out moment for all of that. What are your 3?
First of all, in regards to Matt Cardona, he made somewhat of an Unreal, WWE Unreal documentary that you could go watch on Netflix. I highly suggest, not Netflix, on YouTube. It's about it's about his GCW stuff right now. So it's like, I don't remember how long it was, like 20 something minutes or so. That was very well done. But I do have the end of Monday Night Raw as a mark out moment. I have the end of NXT as a mark out moment with all the TNA Invasion. The opening video package for Wrestlepalooza, connecting sports to pro wrestling, I thought was absolutely incredible.
That was great.
And I watched it maybe 4 times or so. The one thing that I wish was in that video was an inclusion of Showdown at Shea or something like that. But I really thought that was such a good video. And I mean, it really, to me, perfectly showcased sports and entertainment.
Yeah.
To merge them together, like you cut from DX doing the suck it to NBA players doing it. I thought everything in that was very well done.
I agree. They put it well put together.
And those are our mark out moments of the week. That is episode 764. Thank you so much for tuning in. You could follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85. David PTDPT on all platforms, Facebook.com/MarkinOut, YouTube and Instagram are MarkinOut11, ProWrestlingTees.com/MarkinOut if you'd like to support us like that. You can check us out on TikTok at MarkinOut. I just posted a video of the USS Intrepid live from New York City. Not really live, but I would say this is a cool video to check out. You could also subscribe, rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You could check us out on YouTube, markinout.com. And we wish you the best of luck in
your future endeavors.